We are with Representative Tina Orwall with the 33rd District. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
So a lot of your bills passed the House and went to the Senate. What's going on now?
So I've had 7 bill hearings this week, which is good. They're moving into the Policy Committee, and hopefully we'll be moving out of those committees soon. So one of the bills I've been working on this year, which I think is really going to help a lot of the communities in our state, is around abandoned homes that are somewhere in the foreclosure process. Often in cities or neighborhoods, they call about these homes and nobody knows who owns the home. Is it in foreclosure? And we're setting up a process which will allow us to actually identify and register abandoned properties and then put in mechanisms where the yards will be taken care of, and in some circumstances the home secured if it looks like maybe the windows or doors are damaged and somebody has been in or there's damage to the home. And this is really going to help that blight that a lot of neighborhoods experience. We know in Spokane alone there's 500 abandoned homes that are somewhere in the foreclosure process. And so some communities are hit. Obviously SeaTac and Burien in my area are at the table because they're concerned on this issue, and I think we're going to find a win-win.
There has been several stories in the papers recently about student loans, and I know that you have a couple of bills that address this issue specifically.
The issue of student debt is a huge issue that's impacting a lot of families in our state. We know that in our country there's about $1.4 trillion of student loan debt. That's 40 million students. In our state, students, they have an average of $25,000 worth of debt. That's probably a low number because institutions don't necessarily know about all the private loans. And I think there's a lot of students and people struggling. We know 1 in 4 are in default or are delinquent on their loans. And so, we're really trying to see what are the protections and ways of educating students and people with student debt so that they don't go into that downward spiral, which really can end up even doubling or tripling the amount of debt that they have. And so I have a couple bills. One is a transparency bill that lets students know every year, this is how much debt you have, and if you were to leave the institution, this is what your monthly payment would be. The second bill is around consumer protection. It has a 1-800 phone line where you could call in and not only learn about student debt, but you can learn about the federal programs and how to navigate those. And then it has protections. In our state, we allow a professional license to be suspended if you fall behind in your payments. Well, that's taking away a person's ability to actually pay those loans. So we're trying to increase the protections and line up with the federal level.
This week the Senate released its budget, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's a starting point, and it's always good to get the budgets out there so we can begin negotiating. I think the challenge of this session, and I think it's reflected in the budget, is we need to make investments in our schools. But we also need to protect the safety net and families that are struggling. And I don't think it finds that balance yet, and I think we need to continue to work. So again, it's a starting point, and I look forward to moving forward and us finding that balance.
All right, well, thank you for your time. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you.